Hi guys, my name is Carolina and I'm working at Workforce People Solutions. Me and my team, we are making sure that our candidates' documents, they comply with the UK visa legislation. Today I will tell you a bit more about the visa process in our company for our current clients, and also I will tell you a bit more about English requirements, but that will be in another video. I just want to make sure that you understand that Workforce at any point will not ask you to pay any recruitment fees. All the fees that you need to pay to get your visa, they are paid to the government while you're doing your application online. Let's start with what actually is that skilled worker visa. Skilled worker visa replaced old Tier 2 visa, which will mean that only people who are working in occupation listed on government website will be eligible to get that visa to come and work in the UK. There is a point-based system where you need to collect 70 points in total. 50 points are non-tradable, which will mean that you have to have them in order to be eligible for the visa. 20 points are tradable. First, you have 20 points for the offer that you receive from approved employer. Not every employer has a license to be able to sponsor their employees. Therefore, you need to make sure that you apply for the correct employer. Your role also must be listed on government website as an occupation eligible for visa. You also need to speak English at the required level. About that, I will speak a bit more in our next video. 20 tradable points, they are for appropriate salary for the job role, but also you can trade them if the occupation that you're applying for is on shortage occupation list. More about that you can find in the links below that video. Okay, let's talk about money. How much does it cost to come here on a skilled worker visa? It all depends if you're applying for inside or outside of the UK. However, our current roles, they are for the candidates coming from abroad. If you are applying for the job, which is a skilled occupation job, then you need to pay £625 for the visa fees. Above that, you need to pay £624 for the healthcare surcharge. In other words, you need to pay to be able to use NHS services. It costs £624, but if you're coming here on 3 years visa, you need to pay this money up front. Your English test will cost around £200. You might also be required to provide a bank statement proving that you have enough funds to maintain your life until your first salary. The government stipulated that this amount is £1,270. It all depends on a client. Some of our clients, they might certify that they, just in case, they will cover the cost for you. However, you still need to make sure that you're bringing to the UK enough money. You might be also required to provide bank statement proving that you have enough funds to maintain your life here in the UK until your first salary. That bank statement must show that in the last 28 days you are having those funds on your account, and that bank statement, when you're applying for your visa, can't be older than 30 days. If you're applying for health and care visa, the cost of the visa is a bit lower. So the fee for the visa between 1 and 3 years is £479, but there's a good news. Because you're working in the healthcare industry, you don't need to pay a healthcare surcharge. Again, you need to pay for your English test, which is around £200. You also need to prove your maintenance funds, but also, as you will be working in a listed occupation for the criminal record, you will need to also obtain criminal record from the country that you've been residing for at least 6 months in the last 10 years. There might be some extra costs to your visa. If you're coming from a country that is listed on government website as the countries where the tuberculosis test is required, you need to also conduct that check. That health check is time-consuming, so please bear in mind that you need to book it in advance. You can do TB test only in approved centers. The list of approved centers, medical centers, you can find in the link below that video. The cost is around £30, but it's country dependent. You also will need to attend biometric appointment in a visa processing center once you will apply for your visa online. To take your biometrics, which means fingerprints and also the photo of you will be taken as well, it costs £19.20. You might also be required to pay some fees depending on the country and also on the visa processing center. For example, if you want to apply with a priority. We might also ask you to provide any diplomas and certificates confirming that you have enough experience and knowledge about the job that you applied for. We'll also obtain your address history needed for DBS if it's about the health and care visa. And we might also ask you to provide a criminal record. We will also ask you to provide reference details, but all depends on the client. As I mentioned before, we will require from you a TB test. It all depends from which country are you coming. If, for example, you're coming from Sri Lanka, where the TB testing is required, but in last 6 months you've been living on Maldives, where we don't need a TB test, it means that you're exempt from TB test. I will shortly tell you how the process looks like. Once you apply for the job, our recruiter will get in touch with you. They might at that point request from you some basic information like your passport, CV, details for the references, and any certificates that you have. Once our recruiter will conduct with you Zoom interview, we'll send that information to our account manager, who will then share it with our client. Once the client will be interested in your application, we'll let our account manager know and we will schedule a Zoom call or Teams call with our client. Once your application is approved by our client, you will be sent an offer and a contract by our compliance team on behalf of our client. You will then need to book your English tests, book your TB tests, and criminal record if it's required. Once you're provided with all the information and all the needed documents, we will ask our client to assign you a certificate of sponsorship. You will then have 3 months to apply with that specific certificate of sponsorship for your visa. Do it online, but you also have to schedule a biometric appointment in the visa processing center. Once your visa is approved, our relocation team will contact you to plan your journey, including your travel, your overnight stay in a hotel, and your accommodation. Once you will land here in the UK, we have a small surprise for you, but I will not tell you more about that now. Once our relocation team will accommodate you, you will be then, within a few days, able to start your new journey here in the UK. If you're looking for the job in hospitality or in healthcare, we are here to help you. More about the contact details you can find in the description below. We will also support you with going through the whole process, giving you a guidance and also being with you all the way.